So, Turki Alalshikh and Dana White have officially announced their new boxing league. This is information that we kind of knew for a while, that it was in the air. Dana White had teased him getting into boxing. Turki had talked partnering up with Dana White for a boxing league. So we knew something like this was coming. And now it is official with TKO, who owns both the UFC and the WWE, a huge player in the combat sports world. Now with Turki Alalshikh, Dana White is aboard. What does this mean for boxing exactly? Does this mean boxing is going to be completely overwritten of everything we've known? Is this going to be a total new era for boxing? Or are things going to continue for a little bit the same? What's next? First, make sure you like the video, comment below what you think about this, and subscribe to the Never Drop podcast. But this is a very interesting move, as it looks like Turki Alalshikh is coming for the entirety of boxing. Turki, who of course has been working with promoters through his last year and a half to 2 years in the boxing game, whether it be Matchroom with Eddie Hearn, Queensberry with Frank Warren, or Golden Boy with Oscar De La Hoya, along with some other promoters, he's been putting on these massive cards. And a lot of the time, they've been with those particular fighters on those particular promoters. He's been funding it, but he's been building relationships within the sport, whether it's with different companies, with different networks, as this new boxing league, TKO Boxing League, looks to find a partner to broadcast. I would say the running for right now, and this is just speculation from me personally, ESPN. Looks like ESPN and Top Rank are going to go their separate ways this upcoming August, I believe, this upcoming summer for certain. Dana White and Turki Alalshikh, once this was announced, they were all over ESPN platform. Whether it be the Pat McAfee show, Dana White was on First Take, I believe. They were all over ESPN talking about potential broadcast partners and what they hope to get. So I could see a perfect world coming in as ESPN is the broadcaster for them. And then, of course, you got to remember UFC, Dana White already with ESPN. Might be a match made in heaven for them, but also maybe a big brand like Netflix. Netflix getting more into the boxing game. Obviously, they had Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. They just announced they're going to have the Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor trilogy fight on Netflix. And then additionally, there's rumors that they are interested in getting in the market for Canelo versus Crawford in September, which also Turki said, hey, our first fight might be for this new league, might be in September, maybe September 12th, kind of teasing, would Canelo and Crawford be a part of this? You got to think. So normally we have fighters, they sign 2 to 3 to maybe 4 fight deals with these promoters. Turki's going to have these, and I don't want to just say Turki, but TKO overall, this league is going to have fighters in long-term contracts. Say Canelo, who just signed, I believe, a 4 fight deal, and Crawford, who has gone to Top Rank, done with them, isn't best friends with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, not going to them, done a 1 fight deal with PBC, never re-upped with them, looks like he's with Turki Alalshikh, say he signs to TKO, and he signed for how many ever fights, probably for the remainder of his career, which won't be too long. Say those two are officially TKO athletes, a part of this league. What stops them from making that their inaugural fight for this boxing league? A lot of talk has been, hey, they want to start with younger fighters and help build their way up. Okay, that's always a good sign, but they're going to have these guys do exclusive deals, which isn't a bad thing. A lot of promoters sign guys young, and then as they continue to win, they continue to sign them, or if they don't pan out, they drop them, right? So that's what looks like TKO is going to do, but this is the most interesting part of it. They are claiming themselves, they are bringing the UFC model to boxing, aka the number 1 guy is fighting the number 2 guy. If the number 2 guy can't fight, he's fighting the number 3 guy, and so on. The best fight the best, which I think we've gotten better at in boxing over the last 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years. But of course, the narrative has always been pushed, the best aren't fighting the best in boxing. And so it looks like they're trying to bring that model with only 1 belt. Obviously, with each division, there's 4 champions, 4 belts, not necessarily 4 champions, but there's 4 belts. Undisputed champion's the one that holds all 4 belts. TKO is saying we only want 1 belt. That's it. Turki Alalshikh has talked about, hey, that'll be potentially the Ring belt. If you remember, Turki bought the Ring magazine. There you go. We don't know if that is going to completely happen is there's different rules like the Ali Act and different ways that the sanctioning bodies allow different champions and fights and all these different things. But it really seems at this moment the TKO League doesn't care about anybody other than themselves. I see a lot of people saying, maybe I told you so about this whole Turkey experiment, because there was a very interesting comment Turkey had. He said, hey, we're looking to potentially have a fight on Alcatraz, I believe late summer, late June, and we just might leave some of the promoters there. This kind of goes to the saying, hey, you let him in, right? And now he wants everything. You let him in, let him look around everywhere. Okay, he was funding stuff. You let him see the inside of how everything was being made. And now he wants to take over. And it certainly looks like Turki Alalshikh is trying to take over, whether it be buying out all the promoters. He's talked about that, building just one huge league. Well, it's official. His league is official. Now it goes to getting fighters for the league. People are questioning, hey, with Dana White and the UFC model, UFC fighters do not get paid the same amount as boxers get paid. What's that going to be? A lot of these questions at the moment are unknown. We don't know this, but what we do know is it looks like Turki Alalshikh, Dana White, and TKO are here not for the short term, but the long term. This isn't a quick 2-year thing that, hey, Turkey and Saudi Arabia, they're looking to fund fights. It's exciting, bring promotion to Saudi Arabia. No, looks like they are trying to take over the sport of boxing completely. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're now trying to take and put their stamp on it. Heck, even Turkey, as I recorded this, he had his press conference for Canelo versus William Skull. They're going to bring the other belts onto the stage. Obviously, it's going to be for an undisputed title at 168. Turkey said, get those other belts off the stage. Only the ring belt and the ceremonial belt they made for this fight. We're going to be on the stage. For Turkey right now, it's not, if you're not with us, you're against us. And he is looking to take complete control. For a lot of people, it's going to be up to them whether or not they're going to not only allow this, but if they're a fan of this. Obviously, we've gotten some very great fights with Turkey in charge. But are you confident in his ability to run boxing as a league? And I'm sure these other promoters aren't going to lay down and just allow it to happen, even though a lot of them have easily just gotten into work with him. Whether it be Eddie Hearn saying, if he asked me to shine his shoes, I'd get down on my knees and shine his shoes. A lot of these promoters looked at Turkey as the potential savior. And this is a move that if you think Turkey's the savior, then okay, there you go. This is the move that he's going to save boxing. But if you weren't the biggest fan of Turki Alalshikh and what he was bringing to the sport, minus the great fights, everybody loves the great fights, but everything else, whether it be these huge events that maybe took all night, the way he called out other fighters, if you weren't a fan of his or didn't like what he was doing, he was going at you, buying the Ring magazine and spreading misinformation. Well, you might just have to deal with Turki Alalshikh and TKO trying to take over the entire boxing scene. We'll see. Obviously, they think this new format of the best fight the best is going to bring boxing back to what it once was and the popularity of it. Again, I think boxing has, throughout the last 5 years, been growing ever so slightly. Obviously, no one's arguing that the popularity has diminished over the decades. But as of recently, we've gotten these big fights with and without Turkey. In boxing, these big names have gotten back to household names across the country. So the question is, with this new league, is that going to help it? Or might it hurt boxing and not only hurt it, but take it out of America? As some people question whether or not these fights will actually take place in America, or we're going to be seeing a lot of our favorite fighters in these mega fights happening in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It's interesting. Obviously, we're not going to know any of these answers tomorrow, next week, next month. We're going to be hearing a lot of these things over the next few months. I'd probably say 6 months to a year before this is really up and running. The announcement is still fresh. I'm still trying to wrap my head, find out all the details. But obviously, there's people that wanted boxing to be under a commissioner type, best mandated to fight the best. No one's complaining with that. But in some aspect, maybe the business isn't right. That's going to be up to debate and up to something we see as the fans. As it looks like Turki Alalshikh is going for it. He's going for controlling the entire sport of boxing. Backed with TKO and Dana White. We're going to have to see how this goes. This is going to be an interesting prospect. Make sure you comment below what you think of it. Like this video, subscribe to the Never Drop podcast, and that's all I got for you. I'll have all the information as new news comes out, I'm sure, in the coming weeks, months. I'll be making sure to report on it. That's all I got for today. Peace. I'm out.